ready.
Welcome to another episode of Buff in the Rough. Today we'll hear from Dick McVay about his new board game, Hero Hounds, the final McVay hunt, special discount opportunities, and a whole lot more. Help me welcome Dick McVay back to the podcast. Well, hey Dick, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine, Sam. How are you?
I can't complain. I'm so excited to have you back on. And I'm really excited because I remember a while back you talking about this Beagle Field Trial board game, and you've got some updates for us. And I can't wait to see where you are now. So, Dick, I'm just going to get out of the way and let you give us the update.
Well, it's, like anything, starting up is not always easy. And a few challenges, a few bumps in the road. But when you're trying to put 4 decades of judging and hunting dogs and everything into something you can play in 12 minutes, it's been quite the challenge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll just talk about it. Let's talk about this exciting new board game I'm excited about creating here. Hero Hounds is an exciting new game that simulates Beagle Field Trial competitions. It offers a fresh, interactive way to experience sporting dog field trials while learning real-world hunting terms and scenarios. With multiple gameplay options, it's perfect for family fun, entertaining guests, vacations, or hosted events. Each scenario brings new challenges and keeps players engaged. And also, Sam, each Hero Hound scenario brings your pup to life through hands-on painting, naming, registry, and preparing them for the thrill of the hunt. So, with that being said, telling you a little bit about the game, we are going to offer a very good special for those who want to pre-order their games through our website, which is HeroHoundsGames.com. You can go to our website, HeroHoundsGames.com. I think it might be capital letters on that. I have to check if it goes both ways. But if you put capital H, capital Hounds, capital G.com, it does come up. Maybe that's one thing I'm checking on. But it should come up either way, HeroHoundsGames.com. Simple to remember. We have the game. When you get your game, it'll come with a board game, plus it'll come with 8 dogs. They'll be unpainted. And the reason for this, Sam, is because paint in the box would cause it to have a shelf life. Mm-hmm. And a lot of vendors do not, wholesalers do not want that to happen, to have to take something down. So you have to paint your dogs when they come, whether you want a blue tick, red bone, English Beagle, whatever, black and tan Beagle, and it'll also come with the rabbit, so you'll get 8 unpainted dogs. Now, what we recommend when you get these dogs, and once you paint them, what you want in your bases, you go to our website we have, and it'll guide you to how to register this dog. So you're going to register it to compete in hosted events. So we're looking forward to helping some clubs and anybody that for a fundraiser. If they want some help or support, we'll give that to them. So we're keeping it very similar to a field trial, but you can actually register these pups and try to make them champions. Once you make your dog a champion, we'll send you a QR code to identify that dog as a champion, which is very difficult to take it off. So get it right the first time when you stick it on the bottom. So if you want to compete at a hosted event and you made your dog a champion. Now the champions will be, we have 8 dogs. So 8th place will give you 5 points. 7th place will give you 10, 15. It goes up first place, you get 40 points. So it takes 100 points and a first place win to become a champion. So you got to win a whole hunt and accumulate 40 points. Or 100 points, I should say. So that's how it comes. It comes with 2 dice, 20 chips. Your dogs, of course, it comes with risk cards, and in these risk cards, what will happen is different scenarios that happen throughout an actual hunt. So it'll have like, your dog's, do your dog's running ahead of its nose, or it overrun the track, or you could be scratched for a deer. Your dog took off after a deer or farm animals. The board is a very, very colorful board. It pretty much adds everything in there. We put some vintage trucks, so when, this whole field trial thing started back in the 1800s and so forth, we kind of wanted to bring back that heritage look with our new design and new name, which is called Hero Hounds Field Trials. So Hero Hounds Games, but this one's going to be the Beagle Field Trials. So that's what we're doing, Sam. We're simulating actually what happens in Beagle Field Trials.
This sounds like a really neat idea, and I can't wait to get mine ordered. I can't wait to get it, and I love the idea that you can kind of customize it to make it your own. Because everybody has a little different flavor on what they like in hounds. Some like that traditional tricolor, some like black and tans, some like a red dog, So I think that's a really cool concept. I think it's also interesting, and I can't wait to see how this works. The idea that you could compete at some of these hosted events and try to champion your dog just like you would in a real field trial. I think that's a really cool concept.
I think it'll help a lot of clubs that's looking for alternatives to raise revenue. Of course, fundraisers, 50-50s, just gun raffles. Everybody's looking for even bingo. I've seen some clubs try to hold a bingo night to try to bring revenue and a euchre tournament. It's just a new alternative to what you're actually, the hunt clubs and holding field trials. It just gives them something new and exciting to do. It keeps you on your seat the whole time. We really, like I say, with each challenge, and as long as it's taken here since we first talked about it some time ago when I first started designing the game, and I look and it's like 4 years later, and it's like I really, really am happy that I waited and I kept, because new people, somebody would have a new suggestion, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of play that was put into this, and to where it didn't turn into a cluster mess. And it's plus getting the appraisal of some gentlemen in the field trial, and guys that's won the world hunt have just like this is close to explaining everything that happens in a field trial. It could be it's spot on. Some responsive got back on the board. It's simple. All the scores on the board. But we also got a video on our website. It shows you how to play. You don't have to register class, by chance play, because you have two different ways to play this game. You can play it competitively, which what happens there is once the rabbit is jumped in the chase and the chase starts, everybody can look at their cards. But until then, you have to keep them all face down. So nobody knows who's going to get what. You're just hoping your dog gets in there and gets that first strike. But that rabbit takes off. So that's how the rabbit moves throughout the board. He just, when you turn that first strike card over and it's like a red 8, you're struck in for 100. But that rabbit takes off 8 spots, so you don't know where that rabbit's going to go. There's situations where you can run that rabbit down, and if you're a lucky enough guy to catch that rabbit, you're going to score 40 points for that in that game. That game ends right there. Now you do, we give hosts, like our host events, the option to have a 2 chase, where we're going to run 2 rabbits. It all depends about how much gameplay you want. So, really it takes, anywhere from, I played a game in 7 minutes, and the game could be over in 3 minutes. Dog just boom, 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 and catches a rabbit, and you're like, what the heck happened? So that's why some people like to have we're going to jump and have 2 strikes and jumps, and then we'll call it, or when the cards run out. When the cards run out, the hunt's over. That's it. When everybody's cards are played, that's over. Now, you can use free roll tokens at the end of the game, that in there, and some other things going on. So it's pretty cool. You land on a check, it's scored. you can take an option to take a split track. That's a good catch up at the end of the game when you're trying to throw a Hail Mary yourself. Or if you're playing competitive, you can just, say, I don't want to take a split track. I want to stay with the chase. So it's we only use the numbers 2 to 10. Mm-hmm. And they got the names of the cards on the top, black, blue, red, yellow, in case you have trouble with colors. So make it pretty user-friendly. And like I say, and we tried to put all the scores of where you go on the chase, where you can see it. You can look down at the board and say, "Oh, this is our scoring system." Mm-hmm. So this is how you'll score a line, a circled line. This is what we score for a check. And it was kind of like always want to be my version and try to create an 8-dog large pack set of rules for the first time, and it could possibly be used for somewhere down the road for real.
Mm-hmm. So Dick, this game, it sounds like you've done a really good job of making it as lifelike and as realistic as possible. So is it fair to say that youngsters could benefit from this too? Because I was thinking about who this would appeal to in a lot of ways, and I could think about a board being in every clubhouse in the country for folks that maybe can't get out and hunt as good as they used to. And so while everybody's out, maybe they have their own version of a hunt during the day. But also, could this really help kids understand how these hunts work?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was a lot of the intention. We put an age on it because it's actually not a toy. It's a simulator to what actually happens in the Beagle field trial competitions. But the unique thing about being a simulator is you play the game, and it boils down to a lot of mathematics that went into every dot, every check spot, every word that goes onto the check cards. As you play, you'll just magically see things happen. It's like, how did that card come up? And it's so real to what's happening and where I'm placed on the board. It was just a whole lot of math that I played over a long time. And like I say, and just constantly kept working on it. But what you were talking about younger kids, younger kids, I know a guy he's got a grandkid grandson is 5 years old. And he sat down and played the game with him, and he just played whatever card he wanted to play, and he beat him. So what's unique about that is when I was thinking about this stuff, when I was designing the game, is how do I give somebody that, or not, maybe is not, didn't do good in geometry or didn't even like math at all, is the worst subject on the face of the earth, a chance against somebody that's really good at it. So what it does is it challenges somebody that's mathematically really creative, as far as a high-end gamer, a challenge to try to beat somebody that's always going to throw that wrong twist in the Rubik's Cube to you. Mm-hmm. So it's just absolutely fun. And because, they can sit down and feel like they're playing an adult game, Mm-hmm. So, I've seen them, like I say, and you'd be really surprised. When I was 5 years old, I didn't have some of the stuff, and the way they can run cell phones and tablets and mm-hmm. at such a young age is just mm-hmm. amazing to me to where I was when I was a kid that age. But, they can really enjoy it, and it seems like they stay very focused with it. I had a little boy that was, having trouble with attention deficit disorder and speech, and his mom was, sent me the nicest email anybody could ever send, because that's the longest she ever seen him stay focused in one area on one thing. Mm-hmm. And we played for about an hour. And I keep that email close to me just to remind me of, just the healing power it has, and how long, and why didn't somebody come up with this sooner? But after getting into it, like I said, I made the card game in 20 minutes. It took 4 years to get that all in there. And, and I had a stump in the road. It started out, as my dog has skills. I come back from Pecos, Texas, and somehow or other we missed our domain, and we lost that. So we had to come up with a new name, and it was all, my work and everything. So it was all proprietary work of mine. So there was no issues with that. We just had to come up with a new name, and I think the new name, Hero Hounds, says a lot about, what we have. I want to recognize the Hero Hounds.
Mm-hmm.
So on our website, we're going to have, a YouTube channel on our website. So we're going to start doing, I'm going to do some documentaries on some old hounds and hounds and put it on a YouTube channel here. So,
that's cool.
Just some old dogs and some stories. And I think people will enjoy these hosted events. Hopefully we'll be able to post, you have a hosted event and your winners. We can put that out there for people to go to Hero Hounds website and check it out. And, we're going to have a lot of cool things going on for it. So I'm I'm really excited about looking forward to people playing the game and understand it's very simple to learn. And you'll be surprised how young a kid would do it. Steps right in and plays.
Well, Dick,
we do have one feature in it that people's going to like. When you're playing a game of euchre and you got to go to the bathroom or something, it gets real difficult when the game stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with this game, we have that come up as one of the challenges. If you could do this, you would accomplish the impossible. And we did. What you do is you just lay your cards face down and go to the bathroom. And you come back, and if it's your turn, they'll just turn the next card over, and you're like a car not stopping in traffic. You just keep going. Mm-hmm. The game just keeps going, so the flow's always going, whether you're playing, if you're playing competitively, I should say. So we've enjoyed that, and it's not really changed the outcome too much, because people like to sit and think, okay, what I want to, how I want to move here, and it's good strategy.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dick, how long I know you said if the cards just fell exactly the way they could fall, a game could be over, a hunt could be over in 3 minutes. But how long on average, because you've been working on this for years, and I know you've probably played many of these games, just testing things out. But how long on average does a hunt last?
Well, it all depends how many dogs. Sometimes I want to just, I'm like, if I play myself, and this is a good game for, you like you say, you play euchre, you got to have 4 players, If you don't have the 4th one, you're got to find a new game. Well, that's what's good about this. Or, very few games allow up to 8 players. So we cover both parts there. But when you play the game, like I say, that scenario is very, very rare. You never see the same chase twice. Mm-hmm. It's just the way everything is calculated, where it's not a clumber mess, I should say, and moving the dogs and how the rabbit moves and the dogs move. Like I say, it's very difficult, very, very difficult to catch that rabbit. And that's why it was put in there for a reason, because if that rabbit lands on a check spot, a red spot in the board game, he also gets to roll the dice. The rabbit moves on strikes, whatever the strike cards are of all the dogs struck in. He also moves on the check card. So when you turn that check card over to see who's going to get awarded the check, whatever that base card number is, he moves that number, and he also moves the number of the jump. So when you're looking at his different movements that he has in this chase, he's got a chance to get away from you. If he lands on a red spot, you roll the dice for him. If you roll a double, you roll again. You roll another double, roll again. You're not catching this rabbit. But the good thing about it is you're going to probably score 2 circles. You're going to get 2 lines on this rabbit, and that's what you want. You want that rabbit to score 2 lines if you can.
Mm-hmm.
So that adds to your score. So,
Dick, how much of this, just like in the real world, hunts are often influenced by a good handler that has some skills and knows how to work the rules and is a good strategist. But there's also just good old-fashioned luck. The cards just fall in the right place at the right time for you. You always need some luck on your side. How much of this game is skill versus luck?
Well, I'm going to tell you what. It's pretty close to the actual field trials.
Okay.
As close as I can get it, because you want to simulate, the star's got a line for you. When you turn that first card over, everybody wants to be the first dog to strike.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know who it's going to be, no more than you do in the game. But, once you get that game rolling, and you start running, you're out there running, and even like in a regular field trial, you're sitting there trying to say, okay, I'm right here, what I need to do, and maybe you can encourage the guys to hunt over here and put your dog back in the game and trying to get in there and get a check or something. You can look at the territory with this. You can see the territory right here because you're setting at it, and you're kind of making them. If you could put a steering wheel on your dog in a field trial competition, that says a lot about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And your time, what you're saying, the time to play the game. If I have 8 players, if we're playing by chance, which for a host event, you excuse me, you have all the cards. The cards are separated evenly, 2 to 10, and then they're put up in a row of 8, and then you turn one card over at a time and make one pile out of all 8, so they're equally separated. And then you shuffle them. Now, does that make a whole lot of difference? No, I do this because a few people during testing thought that there was something that made a difference in the game if you did that. It doesn't. But, we do it we do what we call it hunting a new spot. If you think by chance that the cards are not followed, the stars are not aligning for you, you have the option to say, I want to hunt a new spot. So if you hunt a new spot and everybody agrees, you separate the cards evenly and then you shuffle them up, and there's no discrepancy of how the cards are dealt out. It's like I say, it does have some luck to it. So you gotta have a little luck on your side, but you can also choose to take a split track or not. That's like in a field trial. Your dog's over here and it takes a split track, and you're thinking, do I want to call a split track or do I want to see if he pulls and goes back with the pack? That's the same situations in here. You gotta decide that for yourself. Mm-hmm. And if the dog's back with you, you want to say, oh, I'm not going to take the split track. I'm going to stay with the chase. That was a pretty good call, especially if your dog's going to quit the split track. But in here, once your dog scores split track, of course, once it circles and scores a line, you wait for your next collar-coded match, and you strike back in, and you strike back in behind the last dog in the chase. And don't forget to move the rabbit, because remember, the rabbit moves on strikes, jumps, and checks. Now, an interesting thing. It rarely happens, but once in a while, the rabbit will circle and lap the dogs. If by chance the rabbit goes around and circles and laps the dogs, where it laps the dogs, that is called a hole. The dog get lapped has to take a risk card. So that is where that rabbit is holed. It does not go any further. Now, that dog get it passed, he's got to take a risk card. And hopefully it's not for chasing deer or doing something, but it could be a good one for him. Go ahead 9 spots, or anything could happen for him that falls into getting in the game if he's the last dog. You got to remember, everybody's got 2 to 10 cards. Mm-hmm. So if they're not played, it's just keeping track of simple numbers. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where it helps. My mom here, she loves playing it. She struggled with a little bit of, she's 86 years old, has a little bit of forgetfulness comes in sometimes. I've noticed her playing it, and all of a sudden, she's like, oh, I got this appointment. It just tickles me to see how she just, see how much alert she is. Like we've done for a long time, Sam, math is how you learn. Yeah. And, the better you are at math, and I think, keeping it simple numbers was probably the hardest thing in putting it on with the dogs.
So this is a game good for all ages, all skill levels. It simulates a real-world hunt, a competitive hunt. It can be a competitive hunt. I love how there's a balance and there's luck involved, because that's real. That's that's real life. I've heard people often say when they finish up in these competitive hunts that it doesn't hurt to have a little luck on your side. So I love that. I love that that's built in there as well. But Tell us.
You were talking about time, Sam. There, as far as time, I've noticed, on the competitive play, we sit down and we're playing it, and we're playing 8 guys, 5 guys, 4 guys. Whatever we can play 3 guys. It goes faster. Of course, it's going to go faster because you have less cards. But when you're playing competitive play, it's interesting to watch these, each individual think this out because, they only have so many cards. It's not like you have 52 cards to decide from. You're trying to make the most of what you have, and you're multitasking too. You're also thinking, okay, what's my next step? And that's a lot. And, when you're, competing in a world championship, a national championship is how you handle your dog. You have to take all these things in consideration. If you want to, like I say, winning a national or world championships and stuff like that. And I've talked to my brothers and being there myself, with Redman and winning the Little World years ago, and the state hunt, Pennsylvania state hunt with Blitz. It's strategy sometimes to figure out, okay, how you want to catch your dog loose first, you want to catch your dog loose second, go hunt a rabbit. A lot of things come in there. And then the things that happen during the chases as far as, a dog gets a thorn in his purse, catch your dog, remove the thorn, and return it back into the chase. But, as these dogs are chasing this rabbit, it's pretty much like they're cranked out, ready to go. And they're, it's like the best chase you ever had, and it's keeping you on the edge of your seat. I mean, I've done 30-minute videos the guys is watching, or like you couldn't believe they just watched a 30-minute video. It went by 5 minutes. They were just so intrigued with what was going on.
Well, Dick, this is so interesting and so timely that it's coming up here on kind of the eve of the final McVay hunt, which has a long history in the UKC field trial world as a major hunt. And so the timing is not lost on me either, and I'm so happy you were able to get this out now. But as people who are interested in this, and I really hope everybody goes out and buys a game, especially every club in the country. But as people are interested in buying a game, do you have gear that go? I mean, do you have T-shirts or hats or hoodies, or are there other things decals? I don't know what else is out there.
Yeah, that stuff there. We have a company that does that for us. So those will be as people call one or two or something. They get direct shipped from there. They've got them in so it's going from you go on our website, you pay us for what products you want and so forth, and we put your order in, and then it gets direct shipped right to your home from there.
Okay.
And then we make sure we keep track of that, because I've got it set up to where when anybody that goes online and orders a game through our website, that's taken care of. I pay like 30 cents extra a box just to make sure people's credit cards and everything is secure. There's no funny business going on, or people, anybody who works for us has your credit card numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So once it goes on there, it goes right to the banking industry, and they take care of it from there. All we know is you ordered it and so forth. So when you go to our website and you put that information in, you put your email in and so forth like that, and you want to order a game, and then we have you to do one step there. It's all on the website, so you just put that in, and that actually goes straight to them, and that gets taken care of. And then that's how that all works for us. But
well, Dick, I wanted to ask you one more question about the game. I'm sorry I'm bouncing around so much. It's just my mind's all over the place. Who's the best player you've played against so far?
Best player I played against. Best player, the luckiest player. I mean, I tell you, the best player, didn't even play the game. He didn't even, he just, he did a spirit dog at my dad's memorial, and that was Dave Hummel.
Oh.
Dave Hummel was a spirit. We had it at my dad's memorial hunt last year, and we were testing it with everybody, and anyway, Dave entered, and his dog made it all the way through, and he was actually getting beat, and my brother was beating him by like 100 and some points, and we're watching the chase unfold, and the last card of the game, it was really funny. because Dave's last card was played in the by chance play, and it was a great. I can never forget. It was a great 8. And Dave ended up moving 8 spots, come across, scored the line, and caught the rabbit. So that gave him 140 points. He beat my brother by 10 points on the very last card play. That was the luckiest guy I ever seen. You know what I mean? And then everybody just kind of like, But the fun thing about it is the guy got second and third, and, a lady that got third, they were just, this is just what happened. But as far as competitive play, the hardest guy I'm having right now to get over competing against is a guy named Mel Pollock from up at Stone Creek. Actually, he gives his land, lets us run dogs on our land for our dad's hunt, and any hunts around here that somebody needs a place to go. He's been real good about allowing the host to allow people on his land to hunt. But I played this guy oodles of time, and I don't know. I don't know how he does it, but he's got it down when to take him split tracks, and like I say, he could be. I've watched him. I'm winning the game. I've already scored a line on him, and he even struck in. And then all of a sudden, he's like, he knows to, them scored checks, get his hind end on one of them scored checks, take a split track, and come back after me. So he beats me from the tail end. So he's caught on pretty quick, and he don't mess too much. But yeah, Mel's been, and then he's had a little luck on his side too. You know what I'm saying? It just sometimes cards just fell his way, but you can change that. Because you don't know what the other person's having. There's times that I've had every one of his cards in my hand, almost. I had, 8 cards in my hand, and 6 of them's his. And but then when I had to play them, I had to pay attention. Because when I'm having to use his cards, because you got to work together. You got to have okay, it's like putting a steering wheel on a dog. If you could put that perfect steering wheel on there, but you really don't, it's fun. I 4 years, and there's things I get tired of, but this is one thing, and that I thought I would over a period of time, and the more I play it, is just. One of Mel's, he gave me a video. He compared it to Monopoly. It's going to hold on a long time. Mm-hmm. He says, because, people want, we made it 7 by 10 box, 6-fold. So you can put it right up on the shelf like a book. You can store it on this in a book or put it in a backpack. Like I say, the ages right now, we have, the dogs and stuff is in there. Of course, we'll have, like anything, toddlers. That could be a little bit of a choke hazard, but not too bad. I tried to keep them as big as I could, but symmetrical with the game. So that's, went to Gen Con, where I picked up the games from the manufacturers. And like I discussed in our last episodes we had, I'm not going to launch this thing if I'm not sure. Doing this podcast tomorrow, we get 100,000 orders and we can't get them to you. And I can tell you right now, I have 7 manufacturers, and 2 of them we're using it because I wanted to make an affordable game, and sometimes, unfortunately, you got to go overseas to get to the equipment that can print these things off that fast, because we no longer have them here in the United States. But we're going to be making some real high-end games here. I met with some gentlemen at a big gaming convention. That's how I was able to get the pricing. How do you figure what's this thing worth? So I took it to one of the largest gaming things that happened over in Indiana, and they were able to appraise it for me and tell me what I had, and they were starstruck by it. They were like, this is really cool. So can't wait to get started on the Coon Hounds, and this one here is completed to I can't make it any better. I mean, it's just fun. I think people really enjoy it. They'll enjoy it as a fundraising opportunity too. And hopefully that'll help as an option.
Well, Dick, I'm just really happy you did this. I think one of your comments early on was, why didn't somebody else do it before now? I think it's pretty simple. I think it's because if it was easy, somebody else would have already done it. It took you 3 or 4 years now of doing a lot of hard work, and I've been talking to you about it, and many others have for these years, and seen what you're doing behind the scenes to make this work. And I'm just glad that it's finally here, and I know it's going to be a good product, and I'm happy for you. Can't wait to see it. So this might be a good segue because there's a big hunt coming up soon, and will you be at this McVay hunt coming up here in not long? I mean,
we'll be hosting an event at my dad's memorial like we did last year. Absolutely. Very good. For those who's going to do it, then we'll have a larger 3D simulator that'll be there with trees and so forth, and a really cool little deal I made up. That it's this game, but it's a full 3D, like a 4x4 version of this game in large with larger dogs and so forth. It has the trucks on it too, so it's kind of where people can play it and kind of get do some of the strategy playing. And then we'll be doing the same thing we did last year, where we do for those who can't make it, they can go to our website and they can say, hey, I'd like to support the Don McVay Memorial Hunt, and we can put you in there. I'm hoping this year here, we should have it done here real shortly, that you'll be able to, if you want to, you can go to our email and then you can pay an entry fee to be in there, which it's just a $10 entry fee is what we do, and it helps with scholarship funds and so forth like that. So, our objective is to sell the board games and get them out there where people can enjoy them and play them. And then, the collectors, of course. Like I say, I've got a company in Spain where they want to work on some real high-end dogs where you can actually take, your dog, and they can actually make that dog exactly like your dog and make your set from your whole complete set of hounds. Mm-hmm. So they can take, anybody's world champion and duplicate it like a bobblehead doll type of thing, but they'll actually create your actual dog and paint it and everything and send it to you. So a higher end game that we have, what makes for collectibles. But of course, them dogs will be grand champion dogs all straight through. But we'll keep track. We keep track of points. We got a little registry here that will keep track of your points and stuff. Send you a certificate. When your hound makes champion. If you want to trade your hound with other people's dogs, because some people might like the registered class more than the champion class to compete in. When you get into the champion class, Sam, that it adds another level of play. So actually, the handlers in the open class, only the rabbit uses the dice to move, and that's if he lands on a red chick or a dog overruns him. And if a dog overruns the rabbit, and he's the rabbit slow moving that day, he overruns it, well, that dog has to take a risk card, and the rabbit gets to roll. So strikes, jumps, checks, and a few little things like that when the rabbit moves. It's all in the rules. Mm-hmm. And once you get the hang of it, like I say, compared to the Beaglers that's out there competing, they have it down within 5 minutes. I mean, these guys, they know all the terminology. They know what this is, and I mean, they go right straight to strategy. I mean, once they know how the game's moving and this set of rules, they're right into the strategy. I mean, somebody that knows absolutely nothing, it's just 10 minutes, maybe 10, 15 minutes. They've got it down. And they ask questions through there, and it's like I say, everything, all the point system, the scoring system's on the board, so you don't have to keep opening up a book to see what a strike or what's third, line. You just look on the board, and it's right there in black and white for you, or green or red, or however it's listed on there. So, but it'll be at the Memorial Hunt. Now this, I think you're aware that this is the last memorial event we're having for my father. And Dave has done a podcast on that, explaining, the reasons why things are changing a little bit, and it's time to take a break. And but Heber Hounds, of course, we're going to be helping them along with other clubs, and you can you can ask to host an event, and on our website, you can email us and so forth like that, and we'll see if it's one that we want to host. So it doesn't mean everybody that sends something in that wants to host an event is going to get to host an event. And it has to be for the right reasons. So. But yeah, that's what we're hoping.
I'm excited for you, Dick. I love seeing people that work hard get the payoff at the end and see the fruits of their labor. So I'm really excited for you that this day is here. And you mentioned Dave had been on a podcast talking about the hunt. And so is that UKC's podcast?
Yeah, I just Dave was on UKC podcast. I was going to try to get him to come on here, and he moves a lot with he's traveling a lot with Farina and so forth. And Dave's been a big help with the game too. As far as telling me what's happening out there with clubs, in different things, and where it can help them or benefit them, or just mostly just be a fun game to play at home, whether you go to a hosted event or you don't. It's just something that can pass the time. I think most. When you're unable to hunt dogs anymore and there's nothing left, this is an option for you, because you can sit and play by yourself. And, Mom said, it reminds her a lot of going up on the hill with Dad, and she just named the dogs Tess and Bo and Gage, and her and Dad running around on a golf cart scoring dogs, as a fun hunt,
Yeah.
And she's up there and just curious to see who's going to win tonight, because you don't know when you turn the dogs loose what's going to happen no more than you do in the game. But it's fun to add up that score and just see who won. Whose day was it to win today? Whose stars lined up. So I'm looking forward to everybody enjoying it. Like I say, I pretty much understand after 4 decades of judging and hunting and so forth, a lot of why somebody didn't do it, because there's so many things that's changed, so many things that's worked with hunting dogs, and the Beagle programs, and why they change rules. So it does, it's what worked, what didn't, and how time changes and the culture changes. And so when you put all that together, I was blessed to have 4 decades of that knowledge in hunting and field trials to be able to weed through and put the best possible simulator that I could to help people, a roadmap for the older guys to sit down with a grandson and say, hey, this is what happens. Do you want to get a beagle? Or do you want to get a coonhound? Do you want to get a bird dog? What suits you? What do you enjoy the best? Because at the end of the day, that's what you have, And
well, Dave,
I'm excited about it.
You should be. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy that somebody's putting something like this out there. It's very unique. There's not a ton of content. I think it's getting better. Content out there for beaglers, and this is just another option for them. And so I hope everybody goes to HeroHoundsGames.com and puts in their order and gets one of these things shipped to them. It just seems like it's good, clean fun for the entire family.
Nope. Sam, they will be here, and there's something I want to pass on to those who listen to this podcast. Anybody, our game retails for $65, okay? But anybody listening to your podcast that goes to HeroHoundsGames.com and puts in a pre-sale order, that they want to order, pre-sale, pre-buy their game, okay? They're going to be able to purchase that game for $45. I have knocked $20 off of that game for anybody that heard your podcast.
Wow.
So that they can. So when you email us, say I heard the Sam Buff podcast, and I'd like to order the game, we'll knock $20 off of that game for you. So it's $45 plus shipping and handling, which shouldn't be too bad. But that's what we're going to do for those that heard this podcast of yours nationwide. I think you're doing a great thing here, Sam, and I've listened to your other podcasts you had with other gentlemen, And it's just, I hope you continue for many, many years here, because this is a really enjoyable podcast that I just love hearing everybody's stories and so forth. And I hope to get out there and be able to find them hero hounds and let people know who they are. The little video on my thing of, the dog that won the world, or, at home, at the house, and just kind of give them a little taste of that there, and help people try to promote their bloodlines and just kind of give back. The sport's been good to me, and the camaraderie, and I appreciate everything everybody's done for me, especially when my wife passed away. And I think she was up there helping me through this whole thing, because there's sometimes I thought I never was going to get this math figured out in this thing. And like I say, the magic's in playing the game. It looks simple, but that was what the goal is. Create a game that looks like a game of checkers, but can be played like chess. And it'll definitely make you think.
Very good. Well, Dick, thank you so much again for coming on. And again, I hope this is just a wonderful success for you. And I look forward to checking back in with you in the future. Maybe in 3 years from now, you'll have another something exciting up your sleeve that you come out with. But thank you so much.
It'll be the Coon Hounds, and the Coon Hounds will be the next one. They moved that one up on me. It's completed. I mean, we got to do the artwork and the graphics and stuff. Like I say, this is like a Model T. Once you figure out how to get the movement of the dogs working to a big sense, then the next one, it might take 4 years to build the Model T in 4 minutes to make them. So once you get them coming off the line, but I think the rest of them will be pretty much easy for me once I figured out, how to get it mathematically calculated, the movements, and how dogs run and get pulled back, and so forth. But if like I say, the website, the memorials coming up will be at the Coshocton County Fairgrounds in Ohio, and that is September 4th. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then we'll probably have the runoff for Sunday for all the winners. So Dave's done a podcast on UKC, which we covered that, and for those who want to come and don't have a dog and they want to join in on this is kind of an alternative, and they can also play the game there competitively if they want to. So we look forward to them. And if you can't make it and you still want to support the Don McVay Memorial, you can still get in the by chance. You can go to our website and say, hey, I'd like to enter. You can only enter 5 dogs. So you can only enter 5 dogs. That's all we allow for one person, because I've had people call and want to enter 100 dogs, and it's not. So we limited our fundraising to one person can only enter 5 dogs, or one person apiece. So that keeps you in different casts and stuff, and gives you 5 options to climb and try to win. But you can actually, if you can't make it, you can actually go online, email us, and we can show you how to pay, and we'll name your dog. Of course, we need to know what your dog's name is going to be, and so forth, and who you are, and whatever prizes are given away will be shipped to you, sent to you.
Well, Dick, before we get off here, I heard your mom in the background, and I don't expect she'll remember it, but I've got a story about your mom. Years ago, it's probably 10 years ago, I got my first beagle from Jeff Stacy, and I've still got him to this day. He's 14 years old. I've hunted him this week. I mean, I've been so blessed. He's been a really fun dog. But I went to my very first McVay hunt. I didn't know what I was doing. And I came up there and staked my dog out, and they had some kind of special hunt on that. I think it was a Thursday, and they brought in all these past winning dogs, and you could go out and just spectate a cast of dogs that won the world hunt, won these big hunts back in the days, and so when I went out and had a big time watching the dogs, and got back, and my dog wasn't there. He had somehow gotten off of his tie out. And I'd never had that happen before, and I was like, oh my goodness. And my friend that was with me said, Sam, somebody stole your dog. And I was like, I can't imagine anybody here stealing my dog. But I'm going to go up to the main office area and just check in and see if anybody had found or turned in a dog. And your mom was there, and she was like, oh, is that your dog tied around there? He was a friendly rascal. He just came up and was just hanging out. She had caught my dog for me at my very first ever McVay hunt, and I just still remember that act of kindness. And he's doing well. I appreciate you catching him for me. I'm glad I got to bring him home instead of leaving him in Ohio somewhere.
Well, she's right here beside me.
Thank you.
You can tell her thank you.
I really do appreciate
I remember them days. Them were the days.
Well,
Every hunt we had. Yep.
Well, it was fantastic. Thank you so much for all that you guys have done over these years. It's been a wonderful hunt. So many memories have been made, and we thank you. Really appreciate you guys.
Well, I thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen, y'all take care. It was a pleasure talking to you again.
But thank you, Sam, and sorry everybody. It took me so long, but we could spend 2 days talking about everything. It goes into designing and getting something done. But I'm glad to be a publisher now for Sporting Dog Games for the U.S. And that's another hat I guess I got to wear now. So here we go. Let's just see what happens. And like I say, don't forget, anybody that mentions Sam's podcast, when you email us, your game will be $45. So just so you know. Okay?
Excellent. Thank you, Dick. Thank you so much.
Take care, buddy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Y'all take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Buff in the Rough. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to be notified when new content is available. And please send comments and suggestions to buffintherough@gmail.com.